Hi everyone, welcome back to NeoDev. In our last video we created a Hangman game using React.js, actually a class component, and it was a blast. However, I promised that I'm going to do that game using a functional component and React hooks. So without any further ado, let's jump right into it and start coding. Alright guys, as you can see I have opened already my VS Code and I have the code we did in the last video. I'm not going to change anything here, just going to add my functional component. By the way guys, this is a continuation of our previous video, If you want to learn the process step by step, I highly recommend you to check it out, since here I'm going to do it but a little bit faster, I hope. So as you can see, I'm already running the code right here. Okay, it's working. Alright, so let's go back inside of our VS Code and let's create that component. I'm just gonna call it fx for functional hangman.js. So to start with, I need to import everything. So just gonna copy paste. Of course we don't need that because we are going to use a class component. Let's hit the shortcut RFCE and yeah, there you go. Let's just remove this because we don't need that anymore, and I think that should do it. Okay, great. Then we need to declare our default props like we did right here. So just gonna grab here everything, and the way we can do that for a functional component is by saying the name of my component dot default props. So the name of my component dot default props. All right. Sorry. And the way we can get access to those properties is inside of this component, we are going to do it by using destructuring. So const the name of my values here, so max run, and my images should be equals to what exactly? To this one. Right, this is the way that we can get access to our props. Now let's create our states. In our class component we have 1, 2, 3, 4 states. All right, and for functional components we are going to use the useState hook. Hence, for instance, we will say useState, and here it can be read is like this is the variable, this is the method to update that variable, and this is gonna be the initial value of that variable. So to start with, let's hit and run, and it's going to start from 0 because this is my error counter, remember? So pretty much we're going to do the same for the rest. So I'm going to grab everything that I have here to save us some time and paste it right away. By the way, this useState is not declared yet, so I need to import that. So I will say import React state. There you go, for useState. Jesus. Okay, there you go. Okay, useState. Awesome. Okay, then in the return part right here, let's create our initial HTML skeleton. I already have that, so I don't want to waste time for that with that actually. Just gonna grab everything that I have here. Okay, again, everything that I have here, and paste it right away. So you can see I have my div with my class name Hangman, Hangman title, Hangman flex. I just leave this image for now, comment that out, okay? Then my paragraph, my class name, of course empty just for now, then my buttons, Hangman reset, this is the button of reset, and my form. So if we go back to our browser, oh yes, I totally forgot it, that we need to import this function. So inside of my app.js, I will say fx, and it will automatically import it for me. Let's comment this out as well as this, so we won't get any warnings. Let's go back inside of our browser, and there you go. It's like that because we haven't displayed our image yet, and neither the buttons. All right, so let's go back inside of our VS Code, my functional component. Great. Now remember that our first step was to generate our buttons, so we will do it right away, and we will say mfn, this is a shortcut, generate buttons. Oh my god, buttons. My god. Okay, there you go, generate buttons, and remember that we need to return something, return the buttons, and we will say return. I am going to use every single letter from the Latin alphabet. There you go. I'm going to turn that into an array, so I'm going to use the split method. I'm gonna loop through them, and I'm going to return. My god, what did I do? Okay, I'm going to return a button. So button with that letter, and of course my key property with the letter value. Alright then, so inside of our return, inside of our div buttons, we need to call that method. So we just say generate buttons. I'm gonna call it, and I think that is correct. Just split map. Let's go back inside our, there you go, we have our buttons. Okay, let's move on and talk about, yes, we need to show the answer now. So again, we need to set or to create a method that I call GuessedWord, like we did with our class component right here. And yes, I'm going to return the same thing as we did before. So to save us some time, just gonna copy, goodbye, and paste right here. Okay, so basically I am saying, okay, let's remove this data state because this is a functional component, as well as this one, this data state, we don't need that anymore. Okay, so this basically saying if my collection, this ternary operator says that if my collection right here has the letter, any letter which is part of my answer, then return the letter, because that means that I chose correctly that letter. Otherwise, return the underscore. And we need to call again this function inside of our Hangman word. So right here, so GuessedWord, now call that function, that method. Let's go back, and there you go, we have initially this underscore because we haven't picked any button yet. Right, let's move on. Then we need to add that a letter to our collection. So the way we can do that is first of all we need to set a handler for our button. So we will say on click should be equal to this, no, not this, just gonna call this function HandleGuess because we are inside of our a functional component. So we will create that fnm HandleGuess. Remove this. Here comes the change respect to our class component. In order to update our collection, we need to create a new set. So we will say const updated set should be equals to a new set. All right, we need to create a new set, and we need to spread. So dot wherever my first set has the values, whatever values has my initial set, you know, my initial collection actually. Okay, and then I'm going to add a new letter. Okay, then we need to override that this previous set with this new set. So we will say this method setGuessed needs to be overridden by this with this new set. Okay, again, something is missing here, and of course is the letter. So we need to pass the letter, that letter, and we need to go back inside of our this generateButtons, and we need to use the value attribute here, and we're gonna set that value to our letter. Okay, let me just indent this, and there you go. Okay, and the way we can get access to that value is by using the event object. So we will say yes, let letter should be equals to event target that value, and I think that should do it. Great. Finally, we need to work with our error counter, because sometimes, I mean, we are not gonna guess correctly that letter if it belongs to my answer, to the word, to this word, to my answer. So we will say set enwrong should be the enwrong, the initial value, which is 0. I'm gonna add something. What exactly? Well, it will depend. If my answer includes that letter, that means that I chose correctly, so I won't add anything to my mistakes. Oh my god. Ternary operator, question mark, 0. Okay, so if I chose a letter that is included inside of my answer, that means that I chose correctly. So that's the reason I'm not adding anything. Otherwise, add 1 to my error counter. Okay. Lastly, here, if I press that button, I don't want to press that again. It doesn't make any sense because I already chose that. So I need to set the disable attribute right here, and I will say guess if my collection has that letter, then please just disable this button, or the button that I just click on it. All right, great. Before we try what we did, let's uncomment the images. Where are you? Right here. Okay, I need to use curly braces, and again for the alt attribute the same. Remember that for the alt we declare, we created a value, sorry, a variable. Where are you? Right here. So just gonna grab that and gonna paste above the return. Okay, gonna use that alt attribute right here again. We are going to use the default props images because that's where we set our images, and we need to get access. So we will say images because it's already declared at the very top of this component right here, these props, and this is an array, and the way we can get access to every single variable, sorry, value of an array is by using square notations. And here we should have an index, but this image should change across, well, actually every time we hit a wrong letter. So that's where our error counter comes into play. So the n wrong, this will start from 0 and so on. So this will play the role of an index for our images array. Make sense? All right, then let's give it a shot now. Let's going back, just refresh the page, and let's get started. So I got now more than 7 more than 7 guesses, and I already lost. What if I win? Okay, restart button is not working. We will deal with that later. So components, refresh. What is the answer? Yeah, green. So let's win this time. Green. And if I hit another button, the code's still running. So this is a problem. We need a personalized a personalized message in case the user wins or loses. Thus, the same way as we did inside of our class component. Let's see, where are you? right here we're gonna do pretty much the same. So I'm just gonna grab everything and I'm gonna paste it just beneath this part, right? But again, we don't need the this keyword because we are inside of our functional component. And again, this GuessedWord returns, yes, returns an array, and I turning that back to a string. And if this is equals to our answer, that means that I already win. And if I lose, that means that my chances are lost. Sorry, my chances, which I only have 6, are more than my max wrong, because we only have, where are you? Yeah, 6 chances, right? That means when we lose. Then yes, for my generateButtons, I save this into a variable called GameState, because here, where are you, generateButtons, I'm gonna to use it right here, because initially I want to show those buttons, but if I win, I want to change that variable to a string value that says, of course, that I won. Otherwise, the message that says you lost. Okay, makes sense? So yeah, we need to change that too, because we need to display an image for the game over. So game over, again, ternary operator, and I want to show the answer if I lose. Otherwise, just keep showing my GuessedWord. Okay, I think that should do it. Okay, let's go back, try that again, and yeah, wrong spelling over there, answer instead of answer. Okay, that should do it. Let's go back, let's lose this time. Yes, we lost. Great. Now refresh the page and let's win this time, which is okay. One more easier. Okay, purple. So and I won. Of course, the only way that we can reset the game is by, you know, just clicking the refresh button, but that's not convenient because that's the reason we create this restart button or this reset button. So we will do it right away. So let's go back inside of our VS Code. Ta-da-da. Give it a handler on click. Oh my God, should be equal to reset. Again, the same thing as we did inside of our class component. Just gonna grab this. Well, actually, I'm gonna create that from scratch. So above everything, where are you? I'm gonna grab what I already have here to reset, and there you go. I'm resetting this one. My error counter back to 0. I'm setting a new collection back to 0 to an empty collection, and I'm calling a new random word right here. By the way, don't worry about that. We will see that in a second. Don't worry. We will deal with that in a second. Just have in mind that we are going to reset these 3 states. Yes. All right. So let's go back and try that reset button. So pack, reset. Yes, my my counter goes back to 0. I need to guess a new word, and my set, or actually my collection, is empty. So that's great. So one more time, and there you go. Okay, great. Let's go back inside our VS Code. And lastly, the last part. Oh yeah, the select element. Where are you? Right here. So what actions does the select element should trigger? Well, when we change the value right here, I want to show it inside of my H1. Okay, first of all. And the way we can do that is by using this state. Where are you? This one. So I'm going to call it right away. So curly braces, I'm gonna call it group, gonna call that group. So if we go back, we should see colors, title. Great. Now let's go back, and then the second thing that we need to do, or that select element should trigger, is that we need to guess a new word. But in order to do that, we need to give it a handler to my select. So we will say it on change should be equal to handle change. Handle change. Of course, we have not created that yet, so we will do it right away. F&M handle change. We need the event object. We need to destructure the value. So e.target. All right, great. Here we need to set the group, because I need to change the title every time I change the value of this select input. So where are you? Okay, set group to what? To that value, to that specific value. Let's give it a shot. And okay, colors, now countries, great. And finally animals, and colors. Awesome. Let's go back. What is our next step? Okay, yeah, now we need to guess a word depending of the value we say. And we need to say set answer right here, because we are selecting a new category, of course, and I want to call the random word, but I want to pass a parameter which is going to be the value. And why is that exactly? Well, please, let's make a little parenthesis here and let's go to our word.js. And let me try to explain really quick. So we have 3 arrays here, and each array contains, of course, words depending of the category it has. In this case, colors. We have many words, actually colors. The same goes for animals, and finally countries. And now we have, of course, our random word function, which is pretty self-explanatory. It returns a random word, and here we'll have a default parameter, which is type. And I set this default parameter to be colors, because initially it's going to trigger the default case, because initially my state has no parameters and I want to run this function. I want to return a colors word from that colors array. Make sense? So when my user selects any of these options, which is, any of these options, countries, animals, or colors, I'm going to send that inside of my handle change event right here, which is the parameter. So if we choose animals, we need to guess a new word related to animals. The same goes for countries, and finally to colors. Why these colors? Because here I'm sending a string type. Where are you? Yes, this value, this string type value. All right. Okay, great. Finally, inside of our handle change, we need to right here. Yes, inside of our handle change, we need to reset my calendar and my collections. So I'm gonna grab those, gonna paste it right here. Why? Because we're going to guess a new word, because we are making a new change. For example, let's change by animals, and I'm going to return a new word, so we need to guess a new word. So we need to restart my error counter, because we are playing again, and my collection back to nothing. Okay, great. Finally, before we try something, I need to go inside of my reset, and to reset that group. So copy, paste, I'm going to reset that back to colors, because this colors is my initial value for this state. All right. Okay, let's give it a try right now. Let's go back inside of our browser. Okay, this is function man, and okay, if I hit countries, I get Italy, and that's great. Now if I hit animals, we have a cow, and so on. However, when we click the restart button, let's go with countries, animals, and if we hit the restart button, my value here doesn't reflect the value of my title, neither of my state. So this should change. But how can we do that exactly? Well, let me try first of all to go back here, and let me try to use the selected attribute. So I'm going to use a ternary operator for this So I will say if my group is equal, I mean this state is equal to colors, I want to select this value, so this selected is going to be true. Otherwise, otherwise it's going to be false. My bad, this should be first question mark, this ternary operator. Okay, great, that should work, right? However, if you saw the last video, this is not going to work because React doesn't support the selected attribute. React just doesn't support that. Instead, we need to change that with, let's remove this. We need to change that with the value attribute, and this should be equal to my group, which is colors. Where are you? Yes, colors. So this basically says that my select element will have the default value of colors always. So now if we go back inside of our browser and try that again, so okay, components, try that again from countries, and if I hit restart, this should change, sorry, this should change, this half, yes, this half has to change back to colors. So yeah, there you go, colors. So from animals, restart, colors, countries, restart, back again, back to colors. Great, splendid. Let's close this up, and yes, if you got here, thank you very much. That is everything for our tutorial on how to create that Hangman game using a functional component. I hope you enjoyed following along and learned something new today. Remember, the code we use in this tutorial is available in the description below, so feel free to download it and modify it to create your own version of the game. If you have any questions or feedback, please leave a comment down below and I will do my best to help you out. And as always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more coding content. I am NeoDev, let's grow together. Thank you for watching and we will see you in the next time.